everyone. Thank you for coming to my presentation. Before I come to this stage, I was thinking really hard, what kind of joke can I come up with so everybody can warm up? And then I gave up. I'm not good at coming up with jokes. I'm only good at designing, so I better come to my talk. After years of experience, I realized no matter what you're trying designing for a startup, a Fortune 500 company, a watch, or a car dashboard, fundamentally, designing application is about solving a real problem for a real user. It's not just about how things look, which comes to our topic, design for solving the right problem. It's really important for designers to understand we're not solving all the problems. We're only solving the right problems that will make an impact. First, let's take a step back. Look at how we think and create. The better we understand, the better we can design. So what is design? There are many definitions from different disciplines. The one I like is this. It's a problem-solving process that makes things better for people. We are designers, and like artists, we cannot just simply follow our impulses and create things we like. We are designing within a constraint and has a clear purpose in mind. Design is not simply creativity. It is active and meticulous problem solving. So what does a UI/UX designer do to solve problems? So many people think they're just sitting there doodling wireframes and coloring computer interface. This is only a tiny part of what we do. Designers, we solve problems with an approach that involves a distinct set of activities, requires cognitive thinking and physical exercises, which known as design thinking. And design thinking is the core skill that differentiates designers from other professionals. Let me further expand this with some diagrams. The design thinking elements. This is how design thinking starts. When we start a project, designers generate possibilities after understanding the problems and goals. Then we select the best solution from all the options. That represents divergent thinking. From a high level, it's pretty simple and straightforward. We just move from point A to point B, and then problem solved. But actually, if you zoom in on this simple linear process, this is what actually is happening. There are 10 elements in design thinking. Some are similar activity, that's why I coded in the same color. Some are linked to another, that's why they are close to each other. The way I present this way, because you have to understand these elements are organic. Usually when you start a project, we start from understanding the constraints, the problems, the goals, move to synthesize, framing the questions, and then start to ideation, envisioning. Then we encounter uncertainty, but we make selections. Then we move to visualization, we prototype, and then we evaluate. One thing you have to remember is the path is not determined. There is no real process in this path. It's less orderly, and it's repeatable. You could start from constraints, synthesize, framing, and then directly you go to visualization and prototyping. And going back to ideation, envisioning, it all depends on the designer and the problem you encountered. A lot of trial and error might happen during the process, but eventually you will find a design solution. When people look at the elegant, effortless, and simple solution you made, they think, oh, you didn't do anything, but this is what happened when we're designing. So what we tackle with our design thinking power, what is the design problem? A design problem is not a design brief. A design problem is not a predetermined problem. And the design problem is actually interpreted during the design process by the designer. For example, when the client comes to you, tell you, hey, I want to design an app that tracks the user's nutrition intake and helps them improve health. What you heard, what the client communicated to you, is not a design problem. That is what they would like in a design brief. The real design problem is actually at this point unknown. It's up to you to define. So what should we do? We might need to find out what the user is actually experiencing right now. Is that a problem? And what's the context of that problem? What can we do to change, to influence the user through design? So you can start with design research and design thinking. So you end up, for example, the project I come up with, the design problem might be, how do we design an app that learns the user's nutrition intake and provide intelligent, increasingly personalized notification to help them make healthy meal choices? That's the design problem. During the discovery, designer might encounter and discover a lot of problems. Next question will be, what is the right problem, the right design problem? I personally come up with 3 things. I think the right design problems will encounter these 3 attributes. First, the real design problem, the right design problem is a real existing problem. It's not something the designer or the client assumed. It's a real-life problem the user is experiencing. And the right design problem is correlated with goals and target users. What's the purpose of this application? Who is actually using this? And the right design problem encompasses opportunities for positive change. I personally like to design things for positive change. I don't want to design anything for evil use. I hope you do so. And this diagram will help me explain. So we discover some real problems, and we know the customers, and the clients and designer, we all come up with a set of goals. And then, in order to target the right problem, we have to find out what's the target problem that ties to the goals, and who are the real target users, and what's the real target user needs and use cases. With all 3, designers synthesize, and then we can identify the right problem, which lead us to the right UX solution. Why it is critical to identify the right problem? Because you can't build one thing that does everything for everyone, unless you are a unicorn designer. So spending time research and designing in order to come up with a design solution that will tackle all the problems, it's very time-consuming and not really realistic. So design without target build up risk. If we know what's the right problem to design for, it helps us to come up with the most effective solutions and avoid wasted time. Another reason is we want to avoid building a beautiful wrong thing. Have you ever seen some product that requires enormous engineering and design work? It works beautifully, it's great, it's cool, but somehow it's useless. A great example is this, the Segway. This is a very expensive 2-wheel personal vehicle. It was really well designed. It's beautiful, it works fantastic, and sadly, the market didn't adopt it well. From 2001 to 2007, they only sold 30,000 units. The reason why, you can tell from the other picture, in reality, there is a minimum utility for this tool, this vehicle. You can't use it when it's raining, you can't carry a passenger, and you can't drive this with cars. It's too dangerous. I'm sure the team who work on this have tackled a lot of problems, but unfortunately, the market proves that they are trying to solve the wrong problem. Now, the point is, how do we identify and solve the right problem? I personally have 6 points and 6 things I usually do when I'm dealing with projects. I will share with you. I will go through them quickly, and then I'll give you some real case study to further explain it. The first one is critical thinking. We need to critically look at the way in which the problem is stated, rethink the problem from a wider context, and constantly ask questions: why, how, and what? What happened? How it happened? Why this happened? The second one is framing and reframing. We need to realize that framing both informs and limits the way we think. If we reframe the focus from functionality to UX, it's actually enable more possibilities. So when the client comes in and say, I want this and that, the app will do this and that, just wait and rethink, reframe. For example, I tell you to design an app, a weather app. Or let's design an app that helps people enjoy weather more. Clearly, you can tell, just change the perspective, you actually open up more innovative ideas. The next one is challenging assumptions. You need to recognize that ideas are great, but they're all assumptions, and you can't really rely on assumptions. We need to explore methods to validate, to test our ideas' assumptions. For example, if you think users don't like to read text when they're using apps, but you'll be surprised to find out after user testing, if you're designing mobile payment or banking app, people, when they fill up forms, they feel more secure if there's a text explanations underneath. The next one is research-informed design. The goal of research is to generate empathy from users and business owners. We need to gain insight from research. We need to explore the past they've been through from emotional and environmental perspective. There are so many different UX research types and techniques we can use, but keep one thing in mind: you have to select the research type that align with your goals. Usually there are two major approaches: qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative represents why. It's used to find out why people are doing something. And quantitative research represents what. What are people doing right now? And there's another two major purposes: generative research and evaluative research. Generative research is used to inspire new ideas and gain context for existing ones. Evaluative research is used to test the existing idea to improve incremental improvements. So you can actually mix and match all the methods, but just understand what's your goal. What do you really need to find out? And what kind of information you find out will help you make your design decisions. Also, you need to understand we need to be flexible and learn on the go. Keep an open mind, what things can tell you. Sometimes you will find out good information that will lead you to a design decision, but sometimes you will find out new questions. So it's an ongoing process. You have to constantly learning, evaluating, and applying the learning to new situations. The next one is synthesize. Synthesize is where the magic happens. It's emergent. Our mind, our acquired knowledge, and constantly working really hard to distill and analyze the information we gathered. It is really important because synthesize enable us to turn data into insights. It enables us to frame questions, connecting the dots, and come up with the design solutions. I realize a lot of designers overly focus on how to use the design tools and techniques and methods without realize the real thing they need to do is synthesizing while you're using the tools. Things like storyboards, user flows, all these tools that people we all talk about and we use it a lot. But do you really understand why we're using it? And the real activity, the cognitive activity you should be doing is synthesizing while you're using those tools. And the last one is strategy and tactics. A great design needs long-term plans and actionable steps. And it helps your team stay on the same page. Design strategy is a long-term plan to better realize your intent how to bring the product value to users through design. And design tactics is the specific design implementation you will do to fulfill your strategy. As a designer, I find it's really powerful when you have a strategy and tactics. It's not only help you yourself navigate through all the design decisions, it also helps your clients understand why you make this decision, the rationale behind every steps. Okay, now story time. I'll tell you 2 stories and how we use all this knowledge into practice in real scenarios. The first one is a royalty app redesign for a supermarket chain. The client come to us with a very dated old mobile phone app, and they want us to redesign this to increase the mobile app engagement for their loyalty program, and also increase the wallet share for their frequent customers. When we start the project, it's very interesting. We realized they already done a 2-month design engagement, including research. And the previous agency proposed that gamification and social sharing will solve the low engagement problem. And the client is kind of uncertain about this idea. So they come to us, say, how about you guys come up some other ideas? And our team take this back and look at the report the previous agency did and everything. And we were surprised. Like, they did really good research, engage with real customer, they ran workshop with clients, and they even did a set of elaborative wireframes, professionally done. It's great. But what went wrong is they did everything, but they missed one thing. They didn't synthesize. That's why they didn't know what is the right problem to focus on. In the report, we realized they analyzed all the problems the user been through before, during, and after shopping. And they also list all the user preference about shopping experience, but they didn't synthesize them into a user behavioral or mental insights. And they didn't identify what's the right problem. They straight jump into a UI solution, wireframe solution, without identifying the problem. That feels like there's a huge gap between the research findings and the design solutions. So how do we fix that? Our approach, first, we start critical thinking. We critically look at the problem. The client said the low engagement for this existing app. And we think low engagement, this is not a problem. Low engagement is an indicator. It's an indicator for a hidden problem. The hidden problem is the thing we need to discover. What causes low engagement? Then we decide to investigate existing problem from all perspectives, not just design. So we talk to marketing, we talk to the engineering team, we talk to users, and we look at the designs. After all the research and communication, we synthesize the new problem is the loyalty program is misinterpreted. It does not match the user's mental model. This is the right problem, and this is the critical problem called low engagement. But this is still our assumptions. We need to validate this. So our team designed a qualitative research with the real user. We went to the supermarket. We observed users' behavior. We talked to the user, and we collect the data about their needs, their emotional blocks, and their behavior insights. After we analyze and present the data, it was surprisingly good, because what we assumed is exactly the right problem to solve. The data shows clearly, no matter, their app is really ugly design at the moment and works really slow. But even this is the reality. People who understand how the program works still engaging with the app. They're even proud of how much they earn through this app and bargaining about it. So we realize that is the real problem. If users understand how the program will benefit them, they will actually be more engaged. So we propose to the client, the real problem is not we need to design something like gamification, make it fun. The real design solution is we need to design a new onboarding communication system, a new display model to educate the user how this program will benefit them and how the program will work. Also design a constant feedback system, notification, to get the user's attention, keep them using this app. The client's really happy about our findings, which we presented in a design strategy. And all the design implementations and solutions we present as design tactics, and we face it so the client can clearly see the direction we are going and the change we are making. Even in the end, it's a very overhaul redesign, but the clients are really comfortable to accept these solutions. The next story is a project for Carnival Cruise. Carnival Cruise wants a mobile solution to enhance customer cruise experience. We were really excited about this project, and Carnival is a great client. They had a great idea. They think, right now we use these handouts, those paper communication, old media, to tell people what's the fun activity on board. Now we need to leverage our service. We need to leverage digital. How about we create an app? Then people can access to all these onboard activities day by day through mobile app. We take the project and we think, that's a great idea, but is this the real thing the user will want? What is the design problem? Will user benefit from this app? And what else can we leverage from mobile? So we decide we need to party on the cruise to find out. So that's not true. We need to do generative research. We still have to work, but on board with real customers. So we designed a generative research. We come up with this idea. We create a pile of icons, and we give out the customers a target map. And even the cruise members are joined us with these activities. And we ask them to place from the center to the outer rim, like which activity you think is most important to represent a very fun and great experience on board. And they can do it freely. After the exercise, everyone come up to the stage and talk about and why you put this one rather than the other one. And people are very creative. You can see they even draw their own icon if they don't find one. And they even write words to further explain what this stands for. The result is surprisingly funny and interesting. And we realize, it's not about activities, it's about communications. People think the most important thing is communication. We didn't realize the problem they're experiencing is when they are on the sea, the signal is really weak. They can't use their mobile phone or data. It's going to be really expensive. So how do they communicate? And the reality is parents are still worried about their kids and want to find out where they are. And friends still want to make plans and know where to meet up. So instead of building an app that tells you what to do, sells you all these good fun activities, we focus on building a friendly communication app. So this becomes the most important feature for the app. Although we still include the other things and introducing the fun activities, and you can book and share, and you know who is joining these fun things. This app is only available on Carnival Cruise Breeze, but they will roll out soon because people's feedback are really good, and people gave 5-star ratings, and this is the quote from the App Store. The app is awesome. We are using chat a lot to locate friends and family and to plan where to meet up. It's really happy to see we are actually solving the right problem and make people happy while they're using the app we designed. To sum up, design is a problem-solving process, And design thinking is the engine drive this process. Train your design thinking muscle to see the right problem that others can't, because the right problem is usually hidden behind the unclear symptoms. Use your design thinking power, find the right problem, and make a positive impact. Thank you.